Hey, how you doing? This is Travis. I'm over here at PAX East 2025, and here with Joseph from Lazarus Gaming, and we're going to talk about Overpower. Now, if you don't know, Overpower is a game from the 90s they're bringing back. I'm so excited for this. So, is there anything that you can tell us, like, how did you guys come about getting the rights to this? Because it was Upper Deck, wasn't it?
It was originally, sorry, my voice is going to crack a little. It's day 3. So it was originally Fleer,
Okay.
which back then, a lot of people don't know, Fleer was actually owned by Marvel back then. So Fleer would make all the trading cards for Marvel, and it was a separate company, but it was essentially their trading card division. And if you remember from back then, when you would buy a superhero card, there'd be all the stats on the back.
Yep.
And that was so you and your friends could argue over if the Hulk would be Silver Surfer based on speed and strength. Well, Overpower was they took the next step and they said, let's actually make a game so that you and your friends can play out these battles and see who would win.
Yep.
Yeah. So for us, we all played this as kids. We all had other careers. And then it actually started to come about during COVID. So we started a tournament circuit that had we decided we wanted to hold a tournament. We weren't sure how many people were going to be interested in a game that hadn't had a new set since 2001. This was around 2015. And we thought we'd get like 7 or 8 people, and we got like 40 who were interested. People were flying in to like play in it.
That's great.
So we built that up over the last 10 years. We do the league now that we've given away. We don't run it as a company, but there's 6 major events all over the U.S. currently that's expanding. But Seattle, Midwest, Texas, Toronto. So even in Canada, we're international.
That's great.
So during COVID, one of my co-founders, David, he was actually watching an episode of Shark Tank. And there was an old lawn dart game that these guys all, I guess, played when they were kids. And they were like, let's just see if anyone still controls all the rights. Because if you don't keep up with stuff and it's abandoned, anyone can register it. So we all pooled a bunch of money together and just started hiring lawyers to see if we could get the rights. And it was crazy. We all were putting, I'll just say it was 5 figures each, just to see if it was even something we could do.
Yeah.
We all thought we were throwing our money away. Spouses were not very happy, but it worked out. It's every step of the way, we just kept getting good news and good news. We were able to slowly put the word out there to make sure none of the old entities were going to be upset that we were doing it. So we took our time. We did everything the right way to make sure no one was upset. And now we actually have Ron Peraza, who was one of the head designers of the original game, has joined our advisory board.
Oh, nice.
So he's actually advising us and working with us on things like design and helping open some inroads, hopefully, back to Marvel and some of the bigger properties.
That's great.
So, yeah.
No, you're just talking about the design. I was lucky enough to get some packs, and I was going through them. The artwork is phenomenal. So you have some really good artists. Is there a chance of any other artists coming on board to do some artwork?
Actually, so many. It's been fantastic. So the first set was great. We started just reaching out to people who are our favorite artists when we were kids. People like Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson with Savage Dragon. We wanted to start with Image because the original game had multiple sets for the other IPs, Marvel and DC. Image only got 1 set, and we love Image. We grew up on that too. So we wanted to bring that back. So we just started reaching out. Even the legendary Joe Jesko, who painted all the Marvel Masterpiece cards for the 92 set, we have somewhere about 40 pieces of art from him. Actually, do you mind if I grab one of the playmats?
Yeah, sure. Ahead.
So this is not an original piece, but we were able to take, this is my favorite piece of art by him. I don't know if that's framed out, but he painted all this. So we have even some of the old paintings for characters in the game. This is all the aliens on Barsoom, which is Mars, for John Carter of Mars. So his painting just lends itself so well, but there's, I think 50 of our cards have art from him on it. So
that's
great. And we were really lucky, all the artists were really excited about it. I guess there used to be a lot more work in trading cards, and that was a big supplementary source of income. So all of these artists don't get as much of that. A lot of times now they'll just use art from the comics, stuff that we don't find really inspiring. And so art was such a huge push for us in the game. I like to tell the story that The first pack of comic book trading cards I opened was the 92 Masterpiece. There was a Human Torch on top, and it's the iconic one he painted where he's throwing the fireball.
I remember it.
Yeah, and I had no idea who the Fantastic Four was. I was just watching the X-Men cartoon, and I saw that, and I literally was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to go. The back it said Fantastic Four. I just went out and started buying issues. So cards like that inspired me to get into different comics. It inspired me to love art. And so that's really important to us. We created, just for this first set, over 450 original images for it.
Wow.
And it's all, our list of artists is some of the best artists in the business. So the first set has Jay Lee, who used to do X Factor, like when Havoc and them first took over. He did that run. He's now done like the very classic Batman Superman run. He did the Gunslinger comics, which were very good.
Yep.
When they redid the Wizard and Glass story from that, his art's amazing. We've got Jim Chung, who did Avengers X-Men. And I think he did the Infinity run with the Black Order for the first time.
Yeah.
So like these iconic guys, even just in the first set, Joe Jesco. But we've also now got, we've been talking to Andy Kubert. He's interested. David Nakayama definitely said he wants to do Witchblade for the Top Cow set.
Very, very cool.
We've even thrown it out there to Jim Lee, who's interested. He's just got to clear it with Warner Brothers. So
that would be amazing.
All the legends.
It is art.
Yeah. I can you imagine a Jim Lee, Omni-Man, and Invincible in the set?
Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, that's where the great thing about this is we're all just fans. Like, we're fans that have a little bit of a background in game design, so we can do both sides of it. But we just put stuff there that if we opened a pack and saw it, we would be like, this is so cool. And then it seems to resonate with everyone.
Yeah. Now, getting older that I am now and not having as much free money, one thing that I really enjoyed when I was opening up the packs is you open up the pack and there you get your character, but you get the majority of their cards.
Right.
So it's not like back in the day when I remember I had Maverick. I got the character card for Maverick, but I had no cards for him.
Exactly.
The way you guys have designed your packs and what comes in them, it is a phenomenal. I just think it's the best idea I've seen out of any card company. What was your thinking going into that?
Well, so the thinking is that when I was a 12-year-old kid digging through my couch cushions for change to buy a pack, and I opened one and I got like one hero and one special for someone else, and I couldn't use any cards in the pack, that was a pretty negative experience. Yeah. And it's not like no criticism. That was just every trading card back then. That was the mentality. In addition to that, there would be really powerful cards for certain characters that were the rarest cards in the game.
Yep.
And so if you wanted to use that character, you had to do the chase like we always do. So we wanted to approach it from twofold. Overpower is a different game because, like you're saying, for those who don't know, if you're new to Overpower, if you get a character like Spider-Man or Superman or Zorro or Witchblade, you have their avatar that sits on the table. You make your dream team of 4 characters, but their actual superpowers, go into the deck.
Yep.
So what we're saying is in the old game, it was random. If you didn't get the parent card and the children cards, we call it, you just couldn't use it. So I had the opposite problem. In the very first set, I would mow lawns. I would do anything. I must have bought 5 boxes and I had 5 of every card for Magneto, and I just could not get his hero card. So none of my friends had it. We just couldn't use Magneto.
Yep.
So that we said there's 2 things we have to do here. We want to make sure when you open a pack and you're a kid, it's going to be fun. So you immediately get a hero card and 5 of their superpowers, and then a second one. So every kid saves up his $5, he buys a pack. He's going to immediately have 2 characters he can try. And so that's a really fun experience. For our rarity, the other flip side to this is we don't want this to be a game where you have to spend all the money in the world to compete or have a good deck. All of our cards are available at common and uncommon to be playable, but all of our rare cards use all these artists we've been talking about, and they do different alternative art versions of the avatars.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect the game mechanic, but if you want to get the Jim Lee piece, there's still going to be a huge secondary market. Our foils are just hitting the market this week. There's already ones going for hundreds of dollars. So, and we haven't even gotten to like the Invincible set, Walking Dead, Top Cow, some of the other big ones we haven't announced yet. We did just announce Savage Dragon. So he's going to be in it. The big green guy's back, who I love.
So speaking of the other sets, are you able to talk about your roadmap? Like when are these different sets planning on coming out?
Absolutely. So the first set we did before we knew we would land the licenses was Edgar Rice Burroughs. So Tarzan, John Carter of Mars, Carson of Venus, Victory Harbin, who's great in the game. She's really fun. And then we mixed it with, public domain characters, but they're all comic book adjacent. You'll notice like every Victorian character that appeared in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is in our game. So we have Mina Harker, Invisible Man, Hyde, and they're all characters that you also tend to see in the comics. Hyde is in Marvel Comics, a version of him. A version of Zeus is in Marvel and DC, so Zeus is in our game. And so there's a lot of that adjacency to like Victorian figures / comic booky figures. The roadmap is, this is season 0. So we're shaking out the rust with our player network portal. We have ambassador and judge programs to really help brick and mortar stores build up the community. We're getting everything ironed out with this first set. Once January hits, we're a full-on CCG. So January is going to be Skybound. So you're going to have Invincible and Walking Dead characters in one set.
Okay. Second
set is most likely going to be Top Cow. We're going to probably put Savage Dragon in with Top Cow. And then there's another huge IP we're so excited about, but unfortunately, the ink's not dry yet.
Yeah.
We're pretty close to signing, so I can't tell you about the end of 2026. And then fingers crossed, we can't say that this is not official yet. No one's agreed. We're very much hoping that by 2027, we want to get back to Marvel.
Oh, that would be amazing.
If you're listening, Dan Buckley, we want to work with you. We love you. Dan Buckley, the president of Marvel Entertainment, he worked on the original Overpower. So we're hoping.
We really want this to come back.
We're really hoping.
Let's make this happen.
I can't wait. I mean, I know you guys don't know the game mechanics, but just like we sit around all day and we're like, how do we make Cap's shield work? And we've got like a great mechanic for it.
Yeah.
How do we like represent all of these guys, Pat? We're like, all right, well, what does Spider-Man do like in this game? How can we make Tony have a bunch of different suits? So we just get really excited about designing the flavor.
So speaking about how, the old set and everything.
Yeah.
If you are one of the ones who back in the day used to play it and you are lucky enough to have kept your cards, are they usable with the new set?
100% compatible. There's, you'll notice on ours, we did rename some of the attributes that the characters have. They have 4 main attributes. It was originally energy, fighting, strength, intellect.
Yep.
We've changed it to energy, combat, brute force, and intelligence. That was just a practical reason of that. Literally no one knows who made those layouts on the cards.
Yeah.
And so we just have to make sure we're avoiding any kind of legal infringements.
But
it also, we wanted to change strength to brute force because also in the game, sometimes the character card represents a group of people. So it might be like Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Now, he's not going to have the same brute force as the Incredible Hulk. Nick Fury's like a regular human or has some versions a little super soldier in him.
Yeah.
But if he's got all of S.H.I.E.L.D. behind him and there's 100,000 agents, his brute force is going to be higher because like Hulk might be fighting those guys over there and the rest of them are winning the battle over here.
Yeah.
So it allows us to represent groups of people and not just like a guy with big muscles.
Yeah. So you had mentioned briefly about tournaments happening around the world. Are there plans for like a league?
Absolutely.
Like a Friday night type thing?
So that's what's great about what we're already doing. So we already have our kind of big event league. That's what I was saying we built up. So the NAOL, the North American Overpower League, they're going to continue to run their 6 big events. And to answer your old question, the other question I think I didn't answer, it's all in the legacy format, we call it. So they're all going to be playing with the old cards and the new cards.
Okay.
It's actually a big tournament going on today. So that's going to be, you're going to see people using the old Spider-Man and Wolverine, and they're going to be using our new stuff like John Carter and Tarzan mixed in with it. So
that's great.
We also have announced our Pro Tour. So we have 4 regionals for season 0 to shake out the rust. We've put $20,000 up, split among the top 4 spots. Our nationals is going to be right after Invincible launches, so it'll be legal. We're going to do that right when the show's about to air in February.
Okay.
We put up $25,000 for that.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've got that. Our casual play, we've done what most games do, where we've taken and made prize packs that stores can sign up and just get kits when they hold an event. So I think our minimum event, like normal, is 8 people to be sanctioned. They reach out to our head of distribution and organized play, and they just get kits. These packs actually have 10 unique alternate art heroes, about one every 3 packs, that you can only get from playing in your brick and mortar store. So that's huge for us. We come from a background of store people who worked in stores or played in stores. So we really want to make sure we're helping out the brick and mortar store to make good margins.
That's great.
Yeah. Have you got a chance to play with any of the new stuff yet? I know you looked at it.
Because of the party and everything, I was kind of, I didn't go. I was taking it easy last night, but so we're probably going to be able to get in a game or two tonight to get back into it. But yeah, we played this so much back in the day.
Absolutely.
I'm from a little town, and if I want to go to any kind of big event, I'm traveling about half an hour to an hour.
Yep.
If not more. Back in the day, from Pennsylvania, the closest one that we had for Overpower was in Virginia.
Okay.
So here we are. It was me and my buddy. We're 17 and 18. We're going down to Virginia to play in the tournament. We got our butts handed to us, but we learned a lot, and it was a really fun experience. We sat there with the group of guys, and I think we sat there for about 6 hours, and we were just talking, going over how to build decks and everything.
That's great.
It was just a great time. So,
and that's what it's about for us. You know, we have a really active Discord community. Our Discord is just Overpower Lives because we're bringing it back. But we've worked really hard to continually cultivate a super positive community. You know, we've all experienced like really toxic online gaming communities nowadays. And, you know, we had a couple of bad apples at first, and we've just been really strict about, you know, it's supportive, it's positive, it's just making sure that there's a fun element. Everybody that wants to come play is going to have fun. It's going to be safe. Everybody's going to be kind to each other. And it's, you find that it's infectious, you know?
Yeah.
Our pushing that, now we have so many people on our Discord. Somebody new will come on and ask a question that's been asked 100 times. Yeah. People don't jump on them. They just like, yes, we're so happy you're here. People will set up their cameras and teach them how to build decks in one of the rooms. It's a really great supportive community.
That's great.
Yeah, we're so glad to be a part of it. So.
All right. So if you haven't already tried it and you can find it, pick up some Overpower, give it a try. It is a great game. Anyone can play it. You don't have to be a professional player or anything. Anyone is able to play. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I just think, you know, this was the game that we always played as kids. It still feels like when I sit down and play it the same as when my buddies would come over and we'd play like Street Fighter and just be like, all right, I'm going to do the, you know, it's so easy to just say, well, that was fun, but I've got to throw Wolverine in. I've got to throw Witchblade in. I've got to throw like Omni-Man in and try him. It really kind of feels like that fun you had when you were a kid. Yeah. I'll tell you one funny story before we leave. So when I was a kid, I would always have piles of this everywhere on every surface because it was always at my house we played, and it would drive my mom crazy. So then, like, you know, we grew up, we left the house. My mom came down for Thanksgiving and we're designing the game, and there were stacks of playtest cards everywhere. And she just walked in and she's like, it's like it's 1995 again. There's just Overpower
here we go again.
Like, there's Overpower cards everywhere. So, yeah, I just think, like, it's such a fun game to play casually, and it's not going to be expensive to get into, but that competition's there if you want it. So,
yeah. All right. Well, I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I really hope that this takes off. I'm going to do everything I can to help it along the way.
We appreciate it. We'd love to have you guys. Check it out.
This is Deviant Dice Rollers, and we're out.